2. Transmission tonight.
It's not in our minds this morning to compete with the strength of Mercedes, huge by rally standards, strong motor cars, with drivers for whom rallying is occupation and art. Valdegaard, Mikkola, Cowan. What's in our minds is finishing. And in yours too. If your Chevette dealer team car isn't there at the end, Paul Adams and Jim Scott, there'll at least be a few cards and balloons, mementos that you've had a go. Blood groups, vital on every car, painted among the sponsors, stickers and invitations. Essential to every team or individual entry, specialist motormen and technical managers.
Before he starts the stage, right? So you know where all the gear is?
Another very fast New Zealander, Shane Merland, with the number 2 Chevette, wife and co-driver Jocelyn. But for the moment, on the Motorguard ramp in Nelson's Trafalgar Square, it matters little how fast the drivers are. This is the official start for the public to take maybe their best, perhaps their only close look at the competitors and their cars. Driver Gray Hewson and I have spent a lot of time in the team's third car this year, usually too busy to fret about busting a balloon with a ballpoint.
Love your hat.
And free, which is really nice about it.
Oh dear.
It was here, to the starting ramp, that all Gray's effort had led him, learning to guide this car, new to him, more powerful than his old, almost standard Mazda. For some of that apprenticeship, I'd been sitting alongside, ramming the boot into the floor whenever I thought he should be on the brakes, and by turns exhilarated and terrified when he wasn't. Every weekend, rallying, learning, another few days away from home. We wonder what it is that brings all these people out to watch 87 cars moving off at 1-minute intervals on the few speed limit-bound kilometers to Special Stage 1. At the beginning of 5 days of competition, I have to contain a heavy bout of pre-match nerves as best I can. I can't speak for Gray, except I know he's been mentally picking off a few of the drivers seated before us on the road, and I've no doubt 1 or 2 behind us reckon catching us will be a piece of cake. The start at Special Stage 1, walking back from control where I'd clocked in, on time, on our minute. The sense of our minute becomes very important in the rally. Our minute to finish a stage, our minute to start one. Before the minute, after it, there are penalties. There are 40 stages, and I won't always have time to amble back to the car. But this first morning, it's the cool approach.
Right, how you doing? You right? Yep.
Stage 1 is 40 kilometers long. The maximum time allowed, what seems a generous 50 minutes. There are 31 instructions in the route book, which shouldn't tax the co-driver. As we line up at the start, it's possible number 1, Bjorn Valdegaard, 30 minutes ahead, could be talking with his crew at the end of the stage. Walter Röhrl. Hannu Mikkola. Pentti Arikkonen. He's the man to beat, say the pundits. In this sport, that's everybody. Timo Salonen, Datsun's #1 driver.
4, 3, 2, 1.
In motorsport, when the flag drops, there's no more talk. You have to perform. Distance, like time, is important. And the co-driver commits himself to watching the tenths of a kilometre click by on the helder, indicating the moment to instruct. The motor is misfiring, losing power. After all the hours of preparation, is it possible something can go wrong? For Paul Adams, however, it's been a good shakedown stage. 5th fastest, as he brings the car in for service.
Right, any problems, Paul?
It was running fairly hot. Second gear coming up on it, and it was cooled down to 90 again coming down the hill. I was going up just over 100, about 105, but I think it was just so grotty and slippery.
Oh, we'll check that
Yeah.
water anyway.
But otherwise,
Wheels are checked between each stage. Tyres may be changed to suit the roads. The team carries 200 tyres for 3 cars, which just might be enough. The second Chevette through the stage.
Charlie, just do the rears here. Yep.
3906.
How was it?
It was good. It's very wet in there, though. You know, I wouldn't want to be too far behind us. You know, a few cars got punctures, I think. But it was good, but it just seemed to go on forever.
If the stage went on forever for Shane and Joss, and they were 8th fastest, spare a thought for car 30, making progress, if that's the word, in tantalizing bursts as brief as 200 metres, as long as 2 kilometres. Tantalizing because each time we start again, we think we've suffered the last blockage, and no one will pass us on the way to the end of the stage. Radio contact with barge 3 is bad, a trial of stop-go anticipation. Scrim has spent so many working nights on car 30. Mike is uncertain what tools he'll need, and unwilling to concede that all the effort of preparation was for 40 faltering kilometres.
Barge 3 to rally 3, barge 3 to rally 3.
We hear them calling, but it's difficult to understand what's being said. When all physical and mental effort is willing the car along the road, the radio becomes an interruption. We wish it would shut up and let us get on with it. By now, our problems are apparent to others outside the team in the most obvious way. We're being passed. Ross Hall goes by, and Richard Kelsey. Bill McFarlane. With every car, a minute we will have to catch to stay on the pace.
Roy's got the tools with him.
Yeah, he's got the necessary, so
he's got the thing to block the pump off.
He ran in from this end.
I ran halfway,
Yeah.
quite a way, and met him.
I could hear Dougal on the radio. I think he could hear me, but he just says, "We're on our way, we're on our way." Won't be long.
Tony Tisdale's in trouble too.
Yes. just got to wait.
A long way.
Provided we can keep the fuel pumping, we'll get to the end of the stage. The motor is starving, there's not enough petrol flowing to the carburetors. Just before the rally, it was decided to install a larger petrol tank which would hold enough to carry us through the longer stages. It wasn't a new tank, and something in it, or in the feed from it, is clogging up the works. There's no time to ruminate on the small oversights that can ruin a rally.
Here he is. Please have a new wiper. Switch, please.
Oh, you want to do this in every stage, I'll die of old age.
Just a petrol pump.
The Ford
Yeah,
is up just to the top of my General Motors boots. We shot sideways in the Ford.
Dougal,
Yes.
is it better with the way Roy had it?
It's better now, slightly. This thing was overheating. I've taken the filter out. You might want to put a new filter in, I think. We've got a wiper switch, which is no longer going, all right? Other than that, you might like to tidy up the tools for me. I don't think we left any on the track for anybody else. It's been out a few times, that thing.
I wonder if it's the pickup from the back of the new tank in such a contorted way that the pump can't pull it through, and the pumps are burning out. One pump, I think, might have burnt out. It got so red hot.
Oh, Lord. We haven't got a lot of time. Okay, you got 8 minutes, you fellas. 8. I've got all day, but you've got 8 minutes. I don't know how to say, Mike.
Running out?
I don't know what to say the petrol is because you haven't got a gauge.
Looks like it could have just come loose. What do you...
You're not being able to get a bloody dipstick in.
Right, Gray, enough of the celerity.
Watch this wheel. This wheel just here. Go straight back. Straight back, straight back.
To judge our time, touring from service to special stage control, I allow perhaps a minute a kilometre over the distance, which does not account for spectator traffic. I should have allowed more time. Neither can Gray push the car through the traffic. It's well policed, and speeding on the public highway can lead to penalties or exclusion. This will be a real test of how Chevettes take to water. In Falls Ripples comes car 12. problem with well-intentioned advice is drivers. They think anyone willing to guide them through a Ford is in the pay of the opposition. And another problem with Fords is that other people get stuck in them in front of you.
Get out there.
And if someone else is stuck in the Ford in front of you, the longer they take getting out, the more time you both lose. Just when it seemed the car would stop, it sinks enough to grab traction and claw its way out. The others made it look difficult. It wasn't any trouble for car 30. I expect the others will say by the time he got there, the stream had almost dried up. The motor is missing again. Could be wet or starving. And plainly, the pleasure of clambering through the Ford is short-lived. Dusk as we near the end of the first division. Just for a while, on the 7th stage, car 30 was running sweetly again, sweeping down from the tops on a forest road.
Has Shane found the roads okay to his liking?
Yes, maybe a bit rough, but, you know, everything's holding together so far.
Right, thanks a lot.
Up front, Shane, in the second Chevette, is ahead of Paul.
Down the wash tub, give it a good wash.
Yeah.
Klaus Bilstam discovers the motor guard is different. On this rally, he'll walk further.
Have a marshal to take the time car. They're doing all other rallies around the world.
An attempt to remodel a corner. The steering rack jammed and Paul ran into a bank. Fortunately for him, it's the end of the first day and there'll be time to fix it. As we approach control, we can't know we're 52 minutes behind the leading New Zealander.
Well, one of them done. It's one day.
For the last time on day one, I hand in our time card at control. At the end of each special stage, the car passes an electronic timer. Deduct the starting time from the finishing, and that's the stage time. All the times I thought we'd never do it. 29. The time?
Yeah.
You must be very close to it, yes. Although the division is over, the pressure is still on, particularly for the service crews. Between divisions, and at intervals during them, all cars must enter Parc Ferme, where cars and keys are forfeit. Servicing is hectic. There's a lot to be checked, tightened, replaced in an hour. For Parc Ferme might as well be another world where you can't touch the car until a release time. It's another appointment in rallying that you keep on time, with whatever help and encouragement you can get.
Yeah, drop that out. Yeah, I was shocked. Why? What's wrong?
Caught Paul, and subsequently Paul was in the ford in the middle of it. We come upon him, and of course then we got stuck in it, and one of the Mercs come up behind us. So he pulled 2 minutes on Paul, we pulled a minute on Paul, and of course the Merc pulled a minute on us.
Be careful. It's not that the cribs, it's the spring clip behind it.
Half of it?
One bottle will
Give the whole lot.
Got 8 minutes. 8 minutes.
You'll get those on these, Mark.
Waited at those two very bad fords. We were held up for a long time. We had no trouble at all there. In fact, we know one thing about it. It's waterproof.
Go through water.
Goes through water. Slowly.
A day of dramas.
More than that, son. More than that. I couldn't believe it when we finished that final stage, the first division, and it was missing. I thought, really, what do you need to do in this game? Well, let's pray it is something minor. There's a guard of rallying up there, up through the roof, up through the service. Look down. Division 2. Today's the day. We lost 43 places in yesterday's running. Another 5 and we'll be last. To be 30 again, indeed, to finish where we started, is the target. An impossible distance ahead, Australia's George Fury heading for 3rd on the stage. Rangi Greenland emerging from the ford, on the other side of which there's a short straight, and we'll pass him there. There is an irony in what I've just said, and it will shortly become apparent.
Blow it out. Nothing delights spectators more than someone being passed at the end of a stage than someone pushing over the last brow. Have I got a route book?
57,
There's a change to it.
Okay, well, you tell me what the change is. What is it?
Page 15.
Thank you.
Now touring up to 8.94.
Yes.
And the controlling starter right by the bridge.
8.94, page 15, touring, right. Thank you. I'll come back and check that in a minute.
Okay.
Got ourselves organised. Well, I don't know whether we're actually driving this thing or running it. Not good for someone my age. Stopped 4 times in that state. How many came to lunch in Murchison on the road to the coast? 700 or 800, possibly more. Drivers and co-drivers, crews, team managers, working wives, journalists, officials, dogs' bodies, descending on the town to eat and rest. And if the swarms of kids with scraps of paper, pencil stubs, and shared biros chance upon a celebrity to happily sign autographs.
What was the time for their last stage, anyway? That's what we stopped for.
What was yours first? Oh, hang on. 24:06. Too quick, you reckon? 24:36. Oh, dear.
10 voitures en moins de 1600 et 6 voitures en plus de 1600.
I'm willing to wager that not many parlez français outside a diner in Murchison. But on this international, there are Germans, Finns, Italians, Japanese, English, Australians, and a French official being observing.
Bonjour.
Herr Wachsenberger, orchestrating the massive German Mercedes team, must know others think the cars are too big and cumbersome for sharp, twisting New Zealand roads. But presently, Herr Wachsenberger is worried about servicing and can afford to ignore what others think, as his drivers, Hannu Mikkola and Bjorn Valdegaard, are right on the pace. Just beyond the end of a special stage where you'd least expect it, Valdegaard's Mercedes 500 SLC slides off the road. Back in the forest, we've passed another 2 cars, without so much as a heave or a bounce from anybody. The sheer human grunt that put Bjorn Valdegaard back on the road can do nothing for Shane and Joss Mervyn. The number 2 Chevette is towed into Greymouth.
What's your thoughts, Joss? All over.
It's thrown a conrod through the sump, and nothing can be done.
Did you get out the end of the stage or you just stop there?
No, we managed just coast over the finish line. We thought, oh, well, you know, a good candidate it was, so we just kept chugging. And all the time I kept thinking it's going to start up in a minute, we're going to be away. No.
No go.
However, too bad, eh? You're still going all right?
Yeah, oh yeah, still got some water bottles, but still going.
Yeah, good on you. Stick with it.
Keep it mobile.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah. Got to get 2 to the end, Gray.
Hey?
Got to get 2 to the end.
You gotta go if he doesn't stop wrecking them over there.
One dead's enough.
Well, that leaves Paul. Way down the field, that leaves us.
Well, not so way down. You've had a good night, I've heard.
We've been picking off a few, as many as 7 in a stage, a few live ones and a few dead ones, but...
Well, on the last count, you've come up 22 start orders, so that's not too bad.
Yes, well, of course, tomorrow we'll tell where we actually are with the start orders, because whether we've made up the time, of course, is the essential thing. I mean, we've certainly beaten people through the stages, but whether all that time we lost on Saturday, much of it has been gained back, remains to be seen. I don't know.
On a long rally like this, the field just spreads out anyway. I mean, over the first 10, there's over an hour. You know, the people aren't separated by seconds anymore. They're separated by minutes. There's no way people are going to pass one another. So if you can, you know, basically the best thing that can happen to you is a few more guys fall out in front of you. You just keep on picking up places.
I guess it's for tomorrow. Someone ought to have some sleep. You've been up from 5 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, well, we got a couple of hours sleep last night, but
and now we'll
give it a go.
I think 12 minutes past 4. It's Greymouth, and I think it's Tuesday.
And we're all crazy.
A bright umbrella, one vivid memory of a dismal day, other than we're catching up into the 30s, and it might be possible to do better despite the weather.
What do you think of the weather?
It reminds me of Scotland.
In what way? Just the rain?
Wet weather, yeah. This is the way it rains at home.
You enjoy racing this sort of weather, or?
Not really, no.
Stage 29A, Greyford. Andrew Carnes last in this rally. Almost 24 hours of driving remains. Over Arthur's Pass, out of the rain, into North Canterbury, Christchurch, finish.
Fun. Bucketing down. Early afternoon, few hours sleep. No wonder they enjoy it. I guess it's Sharon Cosby, look. It's so miserable.
Oh, chaps, at least you're out on it. I'm inside.
See you later.
Yeah.
Special stage speeds, when you have trouble, the first thing the co-driver must do is race back down the road and place a warning reflector triangle. With troubles enough, the last thing you want is to be hit from behind.
Got any water there?
And when the car is overheating, and there's lots of water handy, a crash helmet, fondly referred to as a blood bucket, makes an excellent billy. It's more than noticeable as Gray works to make up time and we catch another competitor in the stage. It's almost a reflex. His foot goes harder to the floor. Water in the electrics or fuel starvation, it sounds the same. And the joys of this passing are short-lived.
Are you in there, control?
Hello.
They use a lesser control.
Yeah.
Up there, Gunge in the fuel line, a broken banjo on the carburetor, and Gunge in the fuel pump again. Dirty petrol and mucking around, I think, on Saturday is finally paying off. So we're going quite nicely. The motor is turning over very well when it's got some petrol. But we've got it going this far. We'll have another look at it in a minute.
That's a good time.
It is a good time, is it? Well, it'll get better when we've got all cylinders going the right time. Besides, the driver's angry, I think.
3, 2, 1.
me, like as though something had got on there was shorting out. Every now and then it came alive. It was a swine of a Ford anyway.
What's the problem with the diff?
Knocked the diff bung off at the bottom on a rock.
Yeah.
So Roy took the back bung, the filler bung out, and screwed it in the underneath. It screwed the old shot one back into the diff cover, but it's been pouring oil out. So he's pirated one out of a 46-gallon drum on the side of the road and screwed that in.
Does it fit?
Yeah, right size. Yes, no sweat at all.
This surely can't be the end, and a special steaming, pulsing hell for overwrought rally crews who have lost their way. But in this place, rally drivers have nothing to fear from Charlie and, is it, a beaming Lucifer, tending the fire, pumping the steam. It's just possible that Dothrostoma Peony has hitched a ride from the West Coast forest to Canterbury. So tonight, in Rangiora, they're steaming the unwelcome fungus away. Cleansed and ready for the last night stages, we head for the Ashley Forest. Daylight's quick change panorama of road, banks, hills, trees, streams, drops has gone. Some drivers pedal much faster at night, uncaring that the road drops steeply away from the edge, or that beyond the next corner is space. It can't be seen, it can't hurt you. Spectators startle you as the lights catch them. How do they come to be in the middle of nowhere? In front, the road flows through the patch of light and gathers us in, enclosing and containing a sense of reality. Into that lit nighttime space we are drawn, almost mesmerized. I know where we are. The route book is unequivocal. This is Hanmer. But what meal is it? We arrive after Murray O'Donnell, rally organizer. He sets a difficult route for the drivers just to be first by the fire.
Can it be done, and how long is it going to take now?
You're not going to worry about it.
Why do you worry about it then?
Well, we're doing our damnedest to keep you 100% fit.
All right. Certainly are, son. Come on, let's go and have some lunch.
Yep.
What is the time? Oh, yes, well, it's breakfast.
Breakfast tomorrow or today?
Yeah, breakfast today.
Yeah,
Dinner
yeah,
tomorrow,
breakfast
sort of thing. I'm going to hurry for him. It's starting to go well now. It's just a shame the rally's ending. First time in the last 3 stages I've had no real problem.
Given the surroundings, supping and quaffing would be right and proper in this sort of baronial hall at 7:30 of an evening. But it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm grubby and trying to shake a silly, unreasonable feeling that we're just not dressed for the occasion. When Murray O'Donnell's left to keep the rally rolling, others find his warm spot and curl up to sleep. Paul Adams and Jim Scott are on their way to begin the last day's run to Christchurch. The crews wait for car 30. But what's the rush? Too short a sleep in a warm room can dull you down, take away the edge of concentration. But sleep, however brief, 16 hours after lunch on Tuesday, is difficult to resist. Now Gray must command his responses again, bring himself back to pitch for the last 10 hours to the end. We are 32nd overall. To us, it only matters that we finish better than that. And Gray flies at it in a burst of stages, clocking 14th, 13th, even 11th fastest. Gravel constantly shot blasting beneath the car. Rocks and windrows grinding against the floor pan have worn the metal wafer thin in places. There's too much slop in the drive shaft. It must be changed.
Right.
Not quite 3 kilometers of track and infield at Ruapuna Racing Circuit to cover. But the route book lists more instructions than stages 10 times as long, some barely 40 meters apart. The perfect chance to display cool, precise navigation. Just like the professionals. In rallying, as in life, there's always someone to point the error of your ways. When the crew has such obvious faith in our ability to follow the arrows, how can we go wrong? It must be the television background. When you really blow it, Dougal, make sure there are thousands watching. Gray has to find the right way for himself. The right way. His co-driver has decided to sit still and be quiet, which he should have been from the first flag on the track. Salt Hills above Ruapuna, the rally is almost over. The sun. Car 5, the Datsun of Timo Salonen and Seppo Hayan, slows beyond the finish of Special Stage 40. 10.5 kilometers of narrow, twisting, sealed road above Christchurch. The fourth fastest time on the stage is enough for Salonen to win the Motor Guard.
You happy? Yes, very happy.
Paul Adams and Jim Scott must have known something, confidently giving away their balloons and cards in Nelson 5 days ago. They've come home first New Zealanders, first dealer team Chevette, and 6th overall in an international rally amongst the professionals.
Thanks, Jeff.
If it looks about as vigorous as a Sunday drive, it's not the way it feels. We've lost most of the braking, and nothing a few kilometers from the end will induce Gray to take a risk put on a display. We were as close as doesn't matter to last. Today, we're 24th among 37 finishers, and not willing to throw that away.
Nice one, mate. Nice one.
Nice to be here. There are no more. That would happen, did you? You've been here on Saturday night. Come here, Roy. Come on and shake your hand. Well done, lad. Well done. Scrum. Steve, scrum. Hello. Let him put it on you.
First one, probably the last.
What is that? I always wanted to do that. Now I have to excuse. Disgusting. Revolting behavior. Right, there it is. Can we keep it?